So I wrote this down about a couple of years ago. I was in college, I was really depressed. I didn't know what to do in my life. I found it all kind of purposeless. So then I was confused, I came home, I was upset, and I wrote down, okay, what do I actually want from life? What is like a great goal to have? So I wrote something called Optimal Life Setup. It took me about 2 hours of thinking. I was just in my room alone. I was just staring at a notepad and I wanted to write down everything that was important in life. So I came up with something called the Optimal Life Setting. Even to this day, whenever I'm confused about life or I'm depressed or anything like that, I always go back to this, and this always motivates me again. And I think all of this is correct, which is surprising because people usually adapt over years, their mindset changes. But with the optimal life setup optimal life setting, is that it doesn't change and it's always still a good thing. To me, this is always the goal. So good physical health, exercise, diet, relaxation. Being financially stable, about 50,000 a year. Now, the reason why I say 50,000 a year, because if you look up the data of the correlation between happiness and wealth, it usually peaks at about 50,000 a year. So about 6,000 a month. Then it just goes up gradually. But like with money, there are big stages with money. And if you're making about 50k a year, you can, afford a decent home. Like you've got everything you need to an optimal level. So you can buy whatever food you want, good healthy food. You can afford a gym membership. You can afford good clothes. You can afford a decent car. And anything above that is pretty much hedonistic adaptation. It's just you're getting luxury items, but it doesn't improve the quality in a way. But so 50k a year is like the amount you need for a maximum quality of life. And I wanted it from an online business because I want to move to the Philippines probably about next month, but I want to move to a different country. England is cold, etc. I would much rather be in like a warmer country where I can get things cheaper as well. Like I got a rooftop pool, nice apartment, stuff like that. I think like moving to a developing country is just a better life in my opinion. Doing something that you enjoy as the majority of your life will be spent working. Now the thing is with this is you don't really know what you enjoy. So just make sure what you're doing that you don't hate. So right now I've got a editing business which I'm planning to outsource. So I want to hire other editors and then I can make it passive. So my goal is to make about 50k a year in the next couple of years. I think I'll make 50k a year passive. So that's the goal. And then with spending your time, like you want to enjoy how you're spending your time. The thing is, with this editing business, if I make it passive, I could then spend time finding out what I like doing. So I'm probably going to start a YouTube channel when I go to the Philippines as well. Probably, I want other people to recognize that making an online income and moving to a developing country is actually a great way to live your life. Like it's pretty cheap. I think it's about £700 per month is my budget in the Philippines. I've got a rooftop pool, like really nice apartment, stuff like that. So I will start a YouTube channel and try to like promote that Southeast Asia lifestyle. Number 3, improve your mental health by constantly striving to reduce fear and increase mental strength. Now, the reason why I say this is important is because obviously the more you get used to things that are scary, it becomes less scary. It's almost like exposure therapy. Now, I'm constantly doing this. I've constantly got a fear that I'm trying to get rid of. Now, the thing is, let's say you're terrified of heights, yeah? You're probably never going to do skydiving in your life. But let's say you eventually overcome getting rid of the fear of heights. Now you can do skydiving. And that's like a lifetime experience. That's why it's quite important to always try to minimize your fear. Plus, you'll have overall less stress in life as well because you're less of a fearful person. Number 4, experience is more rewarding than materialistic consumption. Now, there was a study on this, The Science of Well-Being by a female professor, and she was basically just talking about hedonistic adaptation, and that with material things you get bored of it, because when you see it every day you get used to it, you get bored of it, then you want more. But the thing is, with experience becomes your memory, so it actually lasts forever, and it's usually if it's a positive experience, you have positive memories, and that lasts forever. So hedonistic adaptation doesn't apply to memories. So you would actually be more happier if you, let's say, spent your spare money on a holiday rather than spending on a new car. You would actually be happier in the long run with the holiday because memories last forever. Don't waste time. You should either be working, experiencing, or recovering. I agree with that, but that is difficult. Because when I mean don't waste time, I don't mean you're working like 16 hours a day, you're constantly on the grind. That's not really what I mean. You have to, when you do something, you're either, working, experiencing, or recovering. So if you're in the sun, you're relaxing, you need to know the difference between, okay, am I relaxing or am I wasting time? There's a difference. You need to know if what you're doing is really benefiting you, or if you're being lazy, or if you being in the sun, for example, is distracting you from what you're supposed to be doing. So you just need to make sure you're like not wasting your time. For example, I'll give an example. You're watching a Netflix show, but you don't enjoy watching it. Now that's something where that will be considered wasting time. Now, if you was enjoying watching it and it wasn't distracting you from like your work, 100% do it. If you enjoy something, do it. Unless it's like distracting you from what's important, always do it. It's never a waste of time if you enjoy it. And then learn risk assessment. The only reason I did marriage as an example, I'm not saying marriage is bad. I'm saying due to like the divorce rate is so high and it's quite dangerous because a lot of people go into marriage without thinking. Now that's what I'm talking about, risk assessment. You need to understand the risks of things before doing those things. Let's say you get into boxing, you want to become like a professional boxer. You need to think about that. Potentially you're going to get brain damage in the future. Stuff like that. That's just risk assessment. You don't know what, before you do something, you need to know the risks before doing something. You don't want to walk blindly into... You don't want to do anything blindly and not know the problems. For example, like, I don't know, you're investing in stocks. You don't do your own research, and then like your friend was like, "Oh, bro, just invest in this, bro," and then you just invest in it anyway. See, that's just silly. You have to like learn the risks. Like, you have to learn that there's a high chance you're gonna lose your money here, and you can't just like trust someone like, "Just trust me, bro. Just get married, bro," or whatever. Learn the risks for yourself so then you can make your own decisions. Disregard everyone that has a negative impact on your life. This is an important one. Last week, I got rid of a client who was just too emotionally draining. And I also got rid of nearly all my friends as well, because I realized they were quite negative people. Now I've just come out of depression, so that was like a week ago. So I was in a rut. I'm coming out of the rut now. Like, obviously I haven't shaved yet, but I'm just going out of the rut now. But basically I just lost my best client. I lost like all my friends, but I don't regret it at all because they were having a negative impact on my life. So that's a really important one. That's number 7 on this list. It's very important. Number 8. Wisely choose your environment. You're a product of your environment. That is similar to number 7. That's quite similar. Now, for example, with number 8, let's say you're in England, it's cold, people are depressed, people are quite negative, but then you go to like Philippines where it's warmer, people are more positive, people are happier. That's just changing your environment, because you become your environment. If you think of the analogy, you're with four drunks, or your four closest friends are alcoholics, you're going to be the fifth. Your fourth closest friends are millionaires, you're going to be the fifth. It's very similar to that with number 8. Just think about who you're spending time with, what area you live in, stuff like that, and think, how is this impacting my life? Is it in a positive way or a negative way? For example, if you join the army, that would be considered a positive environment, because people are pushing you to improve mentally, physically. So that would be considered a good environment. It's like join the army. Then like a bad environment would probably be like quite of a poor area. No, I think that's quite serious, living in a poor area, because that's going to affect your mindset. I think the biggest investment you can do is when you've got the money. So work a job, save your money, and then move to a better area so you can adopt a better mindset. I think it's not good to stay in any negative environment, because it's just going to affect you negatively. It's going to make it harder to progress in life. Number 9, maximize your independence. Now, what I mean about that is when people say take 100% of responsibility. When I mean maximize your independence, I mean take away your victim mindset. If you can put yourself in a position where you only rely on yourself, so you don't need to rely on people, systems, governments, stuff like that. So you don't need to be on welfare. You don't really need an employer, so you run your own business. You love yourself, so you don't need the love from others in a way. It's always good to have love from others, of course, but you're not dependent on the love from others, because you love yourself. So that's just maximizing your independence, because then you're in a position where you never lose. Because when you are dependent of someone or something, eventually you're going to lose. Eventually you're going to lose that thing or that person, and then you're in a position of weakness. But if you're independent in every single way, financially, like you're emotionally independent, you don't require anyone's love. I'm saying the word require. So if you got rid of it, your life would be worse, a lot worse. You don't want that. You want to be comfortable with yourself. You want to be in a position where you don't require anyone's assistance. Then number 10, always have a goal. Now I believe humans are supposed to always have something to look forward to, and we need friction in our lives to be happy. If you don't have a goal, naturally, because your body always wants to conserve energy, what your body wants and what will make you happy is different. What your body wants is to conserve as much energy as possible, be as safe as possible. So what your body wants is to just lie in bed all day and then just eat food. That's what your body wants, because it's thinking, okay, we need to conserve energy. Like, I don't want to die. I want to be safe. I don't want to be in danger. That's the same with your brain. That's why, let's say we're doing something new. So we're going traveling and then you're afraid. Your brain is basically saying, danger, danger, stop doing this. I want to be safe. But the thing is, we know that won't make us happy. We know if all we do is sit in bed and just eat and just conserve energy, that will make us depressed. Now, what's special about humans is we always need to strive forward. We always need to move forward. When we don't have a goal, we become depressed. Life becomes meaningless. We always need a goal. We always need to move forward. That's how we become happy. But I think there are limits to this. You always want a goal, but I don't think you should ever sacrifice these 9 other things for a goal. So let's say you're a professional bodybuilder, for example. You're sacrificing everything because you need to make sure you're eating enough, eating the right things, sleeping enough, you're working out consistently. Now, because of that, you would have to sacrifice a lot, I think. And so I think overall, yes, probably bodybuilders are happier than the average person because they have a purpose. Like having a purpose will make you happy. But the thing is, if you want like optimal happiness, I think it's not the best way to sacrifice what's important for purpose. In my opinion, I disagree with that. I think you can have all these 10 things. I think you can have a purpose, make a decent amount of money. I don't think you have to sacrifice to be happy. You have to sacrifice some things like comfort, maybe some friends who are not very positive. You want to sacrifice bad things. I don't think it's ever good sacrificing a good thing. Let's give an example. Let's say you're like a professional bodybuilder and you need to focus all your time in the gym or whatever. You just like need to have your mindset. You have to like live in a box. So bodybuilders, they have this phrase called living in a box, which is basically they just like eat, sleep, like work out, and that's their life. And then they like separate themselves from their friends, stuff like that, which will have a negative impact on their mental health, but then they'll get closer to their goal. If you want optimal happiness, I recommend not being too ambitious to where you have to sacrifice your mental health or your physical health for a goal. That's my opinion. So yeah, I wrote this about 2 years ago, 1 to 2 years ago. I still think it's a great plan on how to be happy overall.